how the system works. And it did. It kept everybody happy and entertained. But you had to retain amateurism,
right?
It was all that was the
control had
the
to
baseline. You had you hire you hire your staffs, you grow your department to make sure everybody's following the rules, but you had to have that, and it's gone now. So it's picking up the pieces into something that won't look different on the field. And that's what you're talking about. Like you're
probably
watching,
not.
If you just watch the games on Saturdays, you probably have not missed a beat through the years. Like it looks very much the same, but functionally, the spirit of it couldn't be more different.
The name of the game will still be compliance, right? Whether it's compliance with Title IX statutes, whether it's compliance with the new College Sports Commission, or it's compliance with the NCAA. And so for Ross Bjork, when you talk about sharing the revenue, how it is distributed, that does need to fall within compliance of Title IX, or else you set yourself up for what class? Lawsuits, which is at the heart everything they're trying to avoid. That settlement is what every athletic director, everybody within college athletics, or really even within academia at that kind of a level, is hoping that we just can't be paying these lawyer fees anymore. We can't be getting taken to court every single time that someone says I was wronged in a certain way. And you even saw in the fallout of that settlement, there's a group of women's college athletes that have gotten together and say, well, the way you have mapped out the payment structures and the revenue sharing does not meet Title IX, does not meet Title IX some way, form, or fashion. So we're going back to court with this. And it doesn't feel like this is the House settlement's going to resolve anything, but I think it's them just trying to lessen their lawsuits. Here's Ohio State's athletic director, Ross Bjork, on that distribution of revenue sharing and how it will pertain to Ohio State starting July 1.
There's $20.5 million of revenue share dollars that can now be given to the athlete. And as part of that, anytime you add a new scholarship in any sport, whether it's 1, 5, or 91 like we did, that has to count against the $20.5 million, up to $2.5. Does everyone follow that? 20.5, $2.5 million of scholarships. We added 91. So therefore, there's $18 million to distribute to our sports. And so for us, we will allocate the $18 million starting in 4 sports: women's volleyball, women's basketball, men's basketball, and of course our football program.
And so he spoke for about 75 minutes on Thursday. And there's a lot, because this is very complicated. And as I was trying to explain before I played Ross's cut, it will continue to get complicated. You picked 4 sports. I think you picked 3 that are either the revenue generator is football. That's obvious. Men's basketball, women's basketball. If they're not generating revenue, they're probably operating in what I'll call the not red area. And they're probably just breaking even in terms of expenses and revenue. And then women's volleyball. And I do think women's volleyball for a couple of different reasons. It's a women's sport, so you have 2 men's sports, 2 women's sports. It's equal per your Title IX standards. But the Big Ten in of itself puts an emphasis on women's volleyball. And so television revenue from women's volleyball matches, if you've ever seen Nebraska, if you've ever seen Wisconsin, like they've sold out football stadiums to do this, are revenue drivers. And so I think those are good starting points for that kind of a revenue distribution, so that the 4 sports that bring in revenue, or the most revenue in the football case, you're capitalizing on those, trying to keep those the strongest in the country. Football is the albatross. So I'll have a little bit more later in the show on what football needs to do to help alleviate all of this. But those 4 sports will bring in revenue, or will at least help with what's going to be these 4 sports are going to help bring other sports, or at least pay for other sports.
Yeah, and there's I believe wouldn't get into, it won't be an equal break between those 4. Obviously, most is going to go to football. Yeah. And I think most have said it's like, up to 80 or 90% will go to the football program.
Yeah, I think 75% was the last number I saw, but it'll fluctuate, I think, based off of the scholarships they give.
Sure. So that ends up being like what? So like 15 million or something that ends up going to football. Yeah, this is all part of the sausage that's being made, and it's fine. It's hard to I think most people's eyes glass over when talking about this, because it's interesting on one level, to watch them scramble into what this is supposed to be now, I guess all we can do is watch, man. Like it is so different. It'll be very different for me, but it'll be very different for like what we, and when I say we, not we player me, but we as people of Ohio and that have been, grew up as fans of this thing, what the thing means. Ohio State, that the logo meant something different than the Browns and the Bengals logo. We knew those were businesses, right? Ohio State was something different that whether you went there or not, you tied yourself to it. And all the universities had that. And I think on a large level, there was a level of responsibility to that somewhere along the line, they missed the mark. Because this is a completely changed thing. While it can make all the sense in the world, you could have an ironclad business plan to make it work, but it's just going to feel different from this point forward for a lot of fans out there that this thing meant something than, just a business that wins championships. Like
the emotions of it, the passion, the pride, all of it kind of makes for this being so much more complicated, but the end of the day, it is a business. And so for Ross Bjork, he is running a business. Mm-hmm. And so to continue to fund 36 varsity sports, something I think only one other school in the country is doing, is very ambitious. And it's a plan of hope, but I hope it works out. You'll hear from Ross on that. And is there a problem with our national championship? All of that next. It's Sports Saturday on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This summer, elevate your backyard barbecue game with Napoleon Grills from Billiards Plus in Dublin. Experience the power of Napoleon's infrared sizzle zone, reaching up to 1,800 degrees in just 30 seconds for that perfect steakhouse sear. Stay connected with the Napoleon Home app. Monitor up to 3 temperature probes, all from your smartphone. Built to last with premium steel, the grilling season never ends with Napoleon Grills from Billiards Plus. Visit Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin and transform your patio into a gourmet grilling paradise.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
We've all got our daydreams, right? Little things, big things, things one day you'll do. Then out of nowhere, cancer. And all your plans don't change a bit. I would know. I'm about to jump out of an airplane with my dad. Our first time skydiving solo. And my second year since starting cancer treatment at Ohio Health. All right, Dad, let's go. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keep-making-plans.
Hey, it's Anthony for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen.
That's just you drinking a Big Gulp from Speedway.
And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a hit. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
College
One Man here for Universal Windows Direct. There are a lot of window companies out there, so why choose Universal Windows Direct? Let me tell you. First of all, I told you so. Also, you can get payments as low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. That gives you a full year to enjoy the comfort, savings, and curb appeal before you ever make a payment. Schedule your free assessment today, 614-502-5220, or go to universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Man once shaved Timmy's leg live on the air. Tune in weekdays at 3 to see what else they'll shave. Wait, what else they'll shave? Who the hell wants to listen to that?
Common Man and Timmy, smooth as silk.
Okay, The Fan.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you can sell your home for its current value, so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Yeah, it's hard not to be cynical with all of this because for years, college athletics and the NCAA has tried to champion the student-athlete experience, all while making buckets and buckets of money. And so when you think to athletic departments now, they're businesses, right? The one down the street from us, the Ohio State University, is a business. It is a ridiculously successful, uber wealthy business. And that's reflected in the salaries that they pay their decision makers and some of the top men in the programs and the money that's, given out for athletes and the money that will be given out for athletes as part of revenue sharing. Ohio State's got a very ambitious task of maintaining the legacy of Gene Smith. And that is to keep all 36 varsity sports. Now, there's going to be a lot of belt tightening, just because there has to be at this early stage of it. Because while you think come July 1, you got that $20.5 million, you're not sure what's coming after that. Because as quickly as things have changed in the past decade, things I think will continue to change at that kind of a breakneck speed. So when Ross Bjork spoke earlier this week, and this is something that he said only since he arrived on campus, because I do think he saw what was coming down the line and that revenue sharing was going to happen. They're expanding the college football playoff. All of these changes will mean everything changes, but they will not change how many sports Ohio State will field at a Division I level.
That's a priority. That was the starting point, is we will maintain 36 sports. You have an obligation to the young people in those programs. There's a lot of historical programs that compete here. We want to maintain that. We want to grow that. How we spend our money can look different, and that's okay. We'll manage through all of that. But the obligations to those young people, to the fans who support those programs, then you have some legal things, right? You have Title IX. You got to balance all of that. And so the risk profile of dropping sports, if you look historically, is typically not good.
I do appreciate him saying that, and I do think he's the right man for the job here in Columbus. I choose to believe Ross when he says we will keep 36 sports at Ohio State, but I'm not sure if that's the best business decision for this athletic department. When you hear him say that, Dane, what goes through your head?
I think he has done an excellent job of walking the line. And I guess with all this conversation, I think it's worth noting. I don't have a relationship with Ross, but I know some of the people that were along there or around the program still, and certainly know well all that were around the program when I was there. I don't question the integrity of any of these people. So while we talk about this, we're just unpacking the same beast that they're dealing with. It's their job to do so. And I think the guys that I've met, I think they're doing the best they can with what the hand they're dealt in the current state of athletics. That said, I fall in line kind of with you in seeing it from the business side. And I don't see an obligation really to keep them. I think that would be, obviously if you brought kids in and they're there for it now, you don't want to walk them out the door. No. But the commitment to keeping the programs, if everything else that we've talked about, and I'm sure that was the majority of the 75-minute conference was about business, money, how we're dealing this up, really hard to mix a good business if you feel you have obligations to things that are dead weight on the balance sheet. You can to some extent. I mean, Costco commits to their hot dogs, and they're not making money on those.
$1.50 forever?
Mm-hmm. And we love that about Costco. So there's a certain point that brings the brand loyalty there. But it's lip service, I think, is what it starts to look like when you're committing to a program that you know is not making you any money. And everybody else knows, like, okay, well, if this is going to be a business, then at least let's be the best business of athletics that we can be. And I think that's just kind of I think that's what it is. I mean, I think that's just where we're at. So I know they've said committed to keeping the 36 sports. That sounds nice. I'd be for it. I just don't know to what end or like what does that win you? Maybe that does enough for you on the admissions end that it's worthwhile to be able to say that. Because as soon as I think he's right. As soon as you start to backtrack and lose them, you're not going to get them back. And universities, I would assume, like any other business, you have to grow, adapt, or die. And the two latter, or the latter, is not something that Ohio State has any interest in.
I mean, the role of AD and the role of head coach the last 15, 20 years have really morphed to now it's CEO.
It's morphed, and that's what you bring up, like this legacy of Gene Smith. He didn't really have to talk about this stuff. Like, I don't remember having, like, maybe there was a little bit of it, but it was a much simpler time to be able to just talk about the student athlete, like what is good for our guys, and adding these sports and all the good things that it does. I don't remember people like having to press him on the bottom line of like, how much are we paying for this? What do you owe us for this? How much are you going to pay these guys? Where are we going to get this funding from? I mean, I give Ross a lot of credit for getting up there and saying, I'm going to give you as much as I can on these numbers, spreadsheets, and all of this, so you know what's going on. That's not a world that we've lived in recent, history. Gene Smith was dealing with a different business altogether than we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, it's the most high pressure throw bleep at the wall and see what sticks that I think we've ever experienced. The Bengals are being weird with a player and extra weird with his replacement. We'll discuss next at Sports Saturday on The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
The Department of Veterans Affairs is so innovative, it not only improves the lives of veterans, it transforms the lives of healthcare professionals who serve them with access to the latest technologies and remarkable benefits. Transform your future at vacareers.va.gov.
Going up. Prices keep going up these days. It feels like being on an elevator that only goes up.
Going up.
But not at Metro. We're pushing the down button.
Going down.
We've lowered prices. Get one line of 5G data for $40, period. That's 20% lower. And you get a free Samsung 5G phone when you bring your number. Only at Metro.
5-year guarantee on eligible plans. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Not available at Metro with T-Mobile in the past 6 months. Tax applies.
Save a whole lot more all summer long with hot deals on Meyer brand must-haves.
Like Meyer bottled water?
24 packs for $2.99.
How about Meyer freezer pops?
Yeah, for just $1.99.
Meyer Quencher sparkling water?
69 cents each plus deposit where applicable.
What about ingredients for s'mores?
Of course. Meyer marshmallows for $1, Meyer graham crackers for $2, and Meyer 6-pack chocolate bars for $4 all summer long.
Now that's a good deal better.
Only at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Every child deserves a safe, loving, and permanent home. Help the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption find families for children who've lingered in foster care the longest. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
Give Dad the ultimate gift this Father's Day with Skill Power Tools from Menards. Take on any project with power, precision, and durability. Whether you're drilling, sawing, sanding, or driving, Skill Power Tools deliver top performance to help you get the job done right. Don't miss out on big savings. Shop Skill Power Tools today and grab all your must-have tools at Menards. Plus, visit menards.com to check out our latest flyer and discover all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The biggest thriller this summer is blockbuster savings at Coughlin Chevrolet. Lease a new 2025 Chevy Trax for $159 a month. A new 2026 Chevy Equinox, only $259 a month. Or a new 2025 Silverado, lease for $359 a month. This month only at Coughlin Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
36-month lease with $39.99 due at signing, plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. N63025.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Nate Prunerball. Last night it was Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City returned the favor on the Indiana Pacers, rallying in the fourth quarter to win 111-104, tying the series at 2 apiece. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the way for the Thunder with 35 points. Game 5 comes your way Monday night. The Cincinnati Reds fell to the Detroit Tigers last night, 11-5. Game 2 comes your way today. First pitch at 1:10. Catch the action right here on The Fan. In Seattle, the Guardians fell to the Mariners 7-2 on the back of a 4-run 7th inning by the Mariners. Game 2 of the series comes your way tonight at 9:40. And in the U.S. Open, Sam Burns takes a one-stroke lead into the weekend at Oakmont, sitting at 3 under par. J.J. Spawn and Victor Hovland, the only other golfers under par heading into round 3. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Oh, no, but I erred. You got Dane and the Dingus until about 12:40 today, because the Cincinnati Reds will be on the radio, as they say, taking on the Tigers in Detroit. First pitch there is 1:10. We will mosey out of the way at about 12:40 to bring you coverage of that. The Motor City Kitties whooped up on the Reds last night. I want to say it was 11-2 the final score. It was a bad night for the Guardians as well. They lost to the Mariners 7-2 in Seattle. A 10-10 is way too late for Eric. I know I kind of fell asleep in the third quarter of the Game 4 of the finals, and I woke up in the fourth, fortunately, to watch what I try to do on nights, Dane, with late starts the NBA finals, late starts the NHL finals, is I have it on the TV and I just lay in bed. And I say, Jesus, take the wheel.
And you think you're just like absorbing some of it through
And sometimes I get through osmosis. Last night I was awake and coherent for the fourth quarter. Like my brain was off in la-la land for the third quarter, but I got to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he had 15 of his 35 in that final frame, and they put the clamps on Indiana defensively. So I was coherent for that.
Okay.
Which I think is important. Because I think when you talked last hour about how long some of these series are, it's more for me about moments. Because I'm not going to remember a layup or 3 possessions in the third quarter. I'm not going to remember a block in the second quarter. But I am going to remember the fourth quarter. And to the NHL, I am going to remember an overtime goal. How I get there is every night's different.
I think, though, even intense basketball fans, they do view these championship series as like series stories.
Yep.
So you're like, yeah, you don't have to be, and that's the beauty of it. It's not a Super Bowl. Like, it's not a one game that's gonna change it. So you kind of talk about it in like turning points. So I think you're probably right on that. If you see the moments, yeah. So this game will now be the game that Indiana gave away at home, couldn't close it, got in foul trouble, and it's like the SGA fourth quarter game where they put themselves in even the series. If you needed to put it in a nutshell. That's what happened. If you went to bed early, that's what happened.
OKC's going to host Game 5 Monday night at 8 o'clock, so a little bit earlier of a tip-off time, but still one of those things I have it on and hope I can make it through the end.
They should do it at noon.
Well, look, if you're going to be...
Touchy Ohio State fans.
Why are you doing that? A noon kick for the NBA Finals? A noon kick for the NHL Finals?
We'll stay basketball.
Look, when you sign the contracts, that's what you're beholden to.
Yeah.
I thought it was ambitious when they said, well, we're going to try to move the kick. Did the contract allow you that flexibility? Maybe, but all the parties had to agree, and Texas said, nope, the contract says this.
Rick,
we owe you nothing.
You took the bait.
We owe you nothing.
You took the bait. I sent you down a noon kick rabbit hole.
The Cincinnati Bengals are trying to tell Shamar Stewart, we will owe you nothing if you goof up. If you hadn't heard, the 17th overall pick out of Texas A&M left mandatory minicamp early on Wednesday. So he shows up, and then he leaves. Now, he hasn't been participating in anything but stretching and I think walking through drills, and he's been in the locker room. But the impasse with their first-round pick and the organization has to do with language in the contract. Now, he hasn't signed his rookie deal because, frankly, he doesn't need the money. Right now, he's still living off of NIL. And he's a 5-star recruit out of high school. If you recall, Texas A&M gave millions of dollars to whatever 5-star would sign on the dotted line. And then you got NIL money in college. So that's kind of another new era we're entering of first-round picks. If they play at the right places, they don't need these rookie deals right away. So he doesn't need the money from the Cincinnati Bengals. Not right now.
That's an interesting take that I had not thought about. Because we've had this before with rookies, but yeah,
Sure.
I guess you have even more of a bargaining position where you're like, oh, I'm good. Why don't you guys figure it out?
This isn't life-changing for me.
It is. I mean, that's always has been a glaring difference between the NFL and college. And obviously, like everything else, that line will blur and blur until they're probably very similar. But historically, that's the big change. And you really only see it with guys that have the power that first-round picks do. But you realize, like in college, they're recruiting you, and it's a big happy family. At least the appearance of it's like people are the group. Everybody's rooting for you. As soon as you sign in the NFL, you realize this is a boss employee relationship, and I need to protect my own interests here. Barring any like crazy things, I don't mind these things playing out like this, just because you've seen too many, and even in recent memory, things go south, and you better believe if you're a player that organizations are going to try to give themselves the advantage if they can. They've been there for a long time. They know they will outlast you. You are a blip. We hope we win with you, but this is not anything more than we hope you make us win. If I'm a nice guy to you, that's fine. That's off the field. But on the field and how contracts are concerned, we're going to put it in our favor. So I assume he's not doing this himself, and he has people around him, lawyers, agents, whatever it may be, to say, hey, you're exposed here. I mean, you got to get that stuff worked out. You're about to go play a real dangerous game, and your career span could only be a few years.
Now, do I think he'll be on the field for Cincinnati when they play the Browns on Sunday, September 7th? Yes.
I do too.
Similarly for Trey Hendrickson. But back to Shamar Stewart real quick. Here's Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network. He was on with Rich Eisen yesterday, and he kind of explained just how this situation is a little bit different than what you would see from a rookie holding out for his team.
It boils down to this. The Bengals are trying to set a new precedent in terms of their contract language, putting in, and it's complicated, but the simplest way I can describe it is default language, that if you mess up once, it voids the rest of your contract. They have not historically had that language in their contracts, which surprises some people around the NFL because the Bengals have probably taken more chances from a character and background perspective on their high draft picks than anybody else over the past couple of decades here. They have not had that forfeiture language, that default language in place. They're trying to put it in the contract now. They did it across all their rookie deals. The NFL Players Association in the past, there was a big issue several years ago when a bunch of teams tried to do this, and the NFLPA advised all the agents, hey, don't let your guys sign this, because the moment that one first-round pick signs it, that then has the precedent that everybody else, until the end of time, is going to have that same language in their contract.
So from Stewart's perspective, I'm not trying to be the precedent here, and it reeks of the Cincinnati Bengals just trying to be cheap.
Do you have any insight into how common that language is throughout organizations? He made it sound like that is something that's unique to the Bengals, that they don't have it, but I don't know if it's common in the NFL.
So the reading that I've done from reporters who have been trying to figure out exactly that makes it seem like it's something that started to pop up more and more. But it's not something that you see a lot. Like teams are trying to do this, and I think there's one instance that people here will kind of, I don't know if relate to, but Jamison Williams, the Detroit Lions are trying to use language in his contract to recoup some of his guaranteed money, but that's because he got popped for gambling. And he's going to miss, I think, like 6 games this upcoming season for the Lions because he was stupid and bet on sports. That, I think, is what they're, similarly what the Bengals are trying to do is if you mess up, we can void all of the guaranteed money. But then calling it guaranteed, just it feels kind of gross.
I'm typically, so historically, the NFL Players Union or Players Association is relatively weak compared to the other sports.
Yeah.
I am for whatever they need to do to strengthen that, because in reality, they play the most dangerous sport. They have the shortest career span and have probably the weakest player union and are playing the most popular and profitable sport. So, I mean, you have very little security as a player. So if you're a first round pick, you're thinking, I got to get this right now because what's my max career span? If I'm a first rounder. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say max, but like 8 years would be considered a good long year, a good long career.
It's a great career.
2.5 is the average, not around first round picks. You're investing. So like, it's not a long runway. And you're playing in the most profitable league in the United States. So I mean, like, arguing to get more, I guess, security for the players, especially given the stakes and all the money involved, it doesn't bother me. It takes a lot for me to kind of get on board with wanting an organization to win the battle. But I'm obviously biased.
Yeah, I think.
But that's what I'm here for, to be biased.
Yeah, that's kind of what I need here.
Yep.
I'm on, I guess if we're doing the side picking thing, I'm on Shamar Stewart's side because I also expect him to fully be in a Bengals uniform when they play the Browns. I expect the same thing for Trey Hendrickson. The Stewart thing looks extra bad on the Bengals because they drafted Shamar to be Trey Hendrickson's replacement. They drafted Shamar, who had questionable production in college, to be the guy that could help with Sam Hubbard now retiring. Like, that's why they drafted him, and they're messing with his contract and they're messing with his deal. At the same time, they're not giving Trey what he wants after telling him last year, we'll get the contract figured out, man.
That's the funniest part about all this, isn't it?
As much goodwill as they've built by giving the deal to Jamar, by giving the deal to T, by making Joe Burrow happy, they're kind of just reverting to their old ways with all of this nonsense on a side of the ball that they really need to not have nonsense, because that was their weakest link last season.
Yeah, you'd really like to not be in contract disputes with both the guy that you're trying to replace and the guy you're trying to replace him with. You're really playing with fire as an organization.
It just reeks of same old cheap ass Bengals. But I do, again, back to the first point I think I made was They'll both be in Cincinnati uniforms week 1 against the Cleveland Browns. Speaking of the Browns, Hope's really, really, really a bad plan, especially with your quarterback. That's next. It's Sports Saturday on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Don't miss the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale. Save up to 80% on truckloads of floors and more, including tiles starting at 19 cents a square foot and a massive selection of laminate, luxury vinyl, and carpet, all drastically reduced. Cabinets and lighting fixtures, too. Save up to 80% during the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale on Pop Road in Whitehall. 24-month financing is available with approved credit. Hurry, the Outlet Super Sale ends June 22nd. Dealers welcome.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
Hi, I'm Josie. My daughter turns 5 today. Blow out the candles. I'm also an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can get home to celebrate with my daughter.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Let's all give them room to work. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? So I want to talk to the person who is in pain right now. Or maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do, and the pain just keeps coming back. Hey, it's Tyvus Powell for QC Kinetics. They are different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with Dr. Aaron Wilkoff and the QC Kinetics medical team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps heal and restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Columbus, Ohio. They'd be honored to help you as well. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
Join the Fan weeknights at 6 for the Buckeye Show. And if you're asking if it's just a bunch of homers rooting for all things Ohio State, yes it is. Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Common Man here. I want to talk to you about my buddy Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. It's rare that a business comes along and offers you such great quality, service, price. If you or someone you love or like, or even strangers on the street tell you they need a jeweler, tell them you got a guy, and that guy is Bob Capace at Worthington Jewelers.
I'm Bob Capace, and I'm your guy.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com, where Columbus gets engaged.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Menards has all the tools and fasteners you need to finish your home improvement project. Whether you need standard nails for general construction or specialty nails for specific applications, you'll find them here. New Fast nails are made in the USA with the highest quality steel and have superior holding power. Check out our entire selection of New Fast nails in store today and see the rest of our deals in our flyer on menards.com.
Save big money at Menards. Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here for the weekend. High temperatures into the upper 70s here for today with a few scattered showers and storms, especially here for the afternoon. We can see that chance continue here into your Sunday with highs into the lower 80s. A better chance of showers and storms in the forecast here as we head into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. But overall, warm and humid conditions are expected here for next week with highs into the 80s. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
All right, so we went from a smaller circus down in Cincinnati, again, because I don't think that affects the things on the field too much. Like if you're Zach Taylor, like you want your first round pick to be going through reps, but it's mandatory minicamp and it's June, and how much that'll mean once you get into training camp in July, little to nothing.
No, those are easy. In the grand scheme, those are easy problems.
Yeah.
Now Cleveland's got the fun problems.
Boy,
these are just pure entertainment problems.
The idea that a team would take 4 quarterbacks into the regular season's an ambitious one. It's an ambitious plan, I should say. I saw this from Chris Easterling of the Akron Beacon Journal. He predicts the Browns are only going to take 3. Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Well, if you're saying, what about Joe Flacco? Well, then he would likely not make the cut. What's been happening at OTAs, what's been happening at minicamp is they're trying to, as best as possible, divvy up reps between these guys with the 1s and the 2s and the 3s. And so that's why I will tell you, if you're looking at OTA and minicamp quarterback passing charts, don't put too much into that on who's going to be the starter for Cleveland week 1 against Cincinnati, because it will not tell you anything, in my opinion.
Eric, genius is rarely recognized in its own time.
That's true.
And what I thought was insane, I could get behind this theory of if you need a quarterback, give yourself a good chance of getting one.
Yeah.
Everybody knows if you want to be successful in the NFL, you need a quarterback. What's the best way to build a team around them? Get them pretty young and pretty cheap. If you don't know if you got a guy, why commit to one? Let's just draft a bunch of quarterbacks and see if we can get one and go from there.
Yeah. And
there's a sick genius to it. And it's entertaining on top of that.
Yes. There's a lot of entertainment value, surely, in Shedeur Sanders.
You with me on that?
And Dylan Gabriel.
It's my Stephen A. Smith.
I just wish you'd go somewhere and play some solitaire. As a Browns fan, I don't know. The thing for me is it's very hard to get over Deshaun Watson and how that has really handcuffed the organization, and that will continue to handcuff this organization for the next year. I think they can cut him June 1 of 2026. And on that date, drinks are on me. But when you have that and then you go into this, what you talked about with them drafting 2 quarterbacks and acquiring Kenny Pickett and then bringing back Joe Flacco a year after you told him, no, we think you would be too much for our other quarterback to handle because you're so popular. It's really been a huge mess. Yeah. And this is ambitious of them to think that, well, one of these 4 quarterbacks will break away during training camp, and then we will award him QB1 status going into that game against Cincinnati. For me, understanding that the owner already came out and told you Browns fans that this is going to be a rebuild, start the rookie. Start whichever rookie you feel is best because they're cheap and because you've got another one waiting in the wings. Now, if your idea is to start Kenny Pickett, I'm not interested. I've seen enough of Kenny Pickett and his 10-15 record to think that there's no way you can fool a locker room of professional football players that's a guy. I think a rookie has a better shot. I think Shedeur, Dylan won a hell of a lot of games in college. And he won games with Central Florida. He won big games with Oklahoma. And he won big games with Oregon. Y'all saw him last October. He's a really great football player. Now, he's short, okay. But if he can will a locker room, if he can show that there's growth that can be made over the next couple of seasons, I don't know why you don't maintain that. Similarly with Shedeur. He did a lot with bad at Colorado. Now, he had Travis Hunter, but those are two guys that I think if you're in a rebuild, which you are, the Browns are going to win 5 games this season, that's, I think, the best window to your future. Not a Kenny Pickett and not a Joe Flacco.
I think there's no question. Yeah, let him go. And I think you weigh as heavily on the guys that can be leaders of a professional locker room as you do. Obviously, if one guy's head and shoulders above the other, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at them side by side, if I can see this guy leading the team, go ahead and take a shot with him. But I mean, I think aside from this could be genius, it will be unintentional genius.
Yes.
Don't think because you're a fan and these are professionals making these decisions that clearly they know what's happening. No, don't sell yourself short, guys. This seems like truly seeing what sticks.
Oh, yeah.
And just epic decision making. And I think you fans, media are completely within our right to criticize until the end of time the debacle that was Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. I think it's an all-timer, and I think we're well within our rights, whether management was sitting in this studio right now to say, what in the world were you thinking if you're trying to have a successful professional football program?
If Jimmy Haslam was sitting in this studio, I don't think I would have a word for him. I would just shake my head and walk away. Similarly with Stefanski, similarly with Andrew Berry, because everything that they do as the front office of the Cleveland Browns, it will not, in my opinion, make up for that. Because they're not winning a Super Bowl.
Would that be the greatest flex? So we got Jimmy Haslam in here, or one of the
it'd be a good flex.
And sat him there, but never went to him in the interview.
Just sat him in the corner and be like,
we brought him in, but we just talked amongst ourselves.
I just, I'm as a Browns fan, and that's what made the Joe Flacco month so magical, because it made you forget about Deshaun. Last season with Jameis, you just got to forget about him. And when you look at a team in the offseason and trying to be active in free agency or trying to fix holes in the draft, then you have to focus on Deshaun. Because that issue's glaring, because you don't have a quarterback. You also don't have money to pay people. That's why the Browns wide receiver core is going to look like Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Carter, Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash, Caden Davis.
Murderer's row.
Because you don't have, that's what you went and you brought in Deontay Johnson after he got kicked out of 3 organizations last season because you don't have money to pay anybody. And Cedric Tillman's been a disappointment up to this point. I do like how they drafted Harold Fannin, tight end from Bowling Green, because they're going to eat. Him and David Njoku are probably going to have really good seasons in terms of balls thrown their way. Now, what they do with it after that, I don't know. But, boy.
It's the entertainment.
It is something that you cannot separate from what the Browns are trying to do in Deshaun Watson. And so every decision that is made from a personnel standpoint or this upcoming season from a roster standpoint or from a depth chart perspective, it's going to be judged with that on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really depends on how far you want to go back.
Just run the ball with Quinshawn.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's the most recent. But when the Deshaun Watson thing happened and they decided to make this signing to a ridiculous amount, were you really surprised? I mean, nobody had it felt like there was only a handful of organizations that were going to take that shot and make a decision like that.
There were 3. There were the Saints, the Falcons, and the Browns. And the Browns won because they guaranteed all the money. When you guarantee $230 million, sure. I'll sign that contract today. Because then 25% of it, I think, has to go in escrow. So the money's there. And they'll pay him. But it'll be a very difficult year for the Cleveland Browns, in my opinion. Because you're still having to deal with that. And so you can almost enjoy nothing. But if one of these rookies can give you some hope for the future.
If they, in their credit, they're exciting rookies. I mean, if your goal was to take some guys that there's an upside there, you have two exciting guys to watch. Now, yeah, you can't be exciting enough to make up for, yes, the millions you have sitting not being used and the hole you've put yourself in. But then again, I'm not a Browns fan, so maybe, Eric, maybe you will be able to be blinded if you get some Shedeur Sanders out there.
I want a distraction.
Yeah.
So maybe the Shedeur Sanders can be it, or maybe the Big Ten Player of the Year, Dylan Gabriel, can be it.
Isn't that what this is anyway, Eric? It's all distraction.
That's what sports is supposed to be. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they've got a plan at quarterback, and the plan says being in the Steel City, that's good for his soul. That's in 2 minutes. It's Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay ECO to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get ECO to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying ECO to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring into savings at Ohio Mulch. Get your mulch as easy as ever. Save $50 on home delivery now through Sunday. All you got to do is visit ohiomulch.com today.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
So this was last week where the Steelers announced that they had agreed to terms with Aaron Rodgers for a one-year deal, about $13.25 million for the one season that they will have him at least in Pittsburgh. Now, Aaron Rodgers, of course, comes off a season with the Jets. Statistically, it was good. I think he had 3,900 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. But as the case in most of the NFL, or probably all of the NFL, if the team's really bad, the quarterback's going to get a lot of the blame for it. So I think if you're Pittsburgh, you're probably, and I was surprised, Dane, at the apathy that came from Steelers fans when the Rodgers thing was made official. When you see Aaron Rodgers out there in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, you see him at mandatory minicamp. Apathy. And the more I think about it, the more I understand that they were going to be 500 with him. The worst they can be is 500 without him. I think then you can elevate if he's able to be that Aaron Rodgers last year with the Jets. Now, you hope he's not Aaron Rodgers in his first year with the Jets because that lasted 2 plays, I think. So from this situation, I would say, and this is because only Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow are in the division, but Steelers have a viable quarterback option for the first time, I think, since Ben Roethlisberger.
And I would imagine that's how ownership sees it.
Yeah.
Because I think that they have been playing that game, and that's the game that a lot of organizations in the NFL play when you have an all-time great quarterback and you go on runs. Whether you realize you're doing it or not, you are building everything around a certain guy. And when he goes, it's hard to replace it. Most teams have had a really hard time after they have their run with the one guy to then rinse and repeat. You could just go through the list, but it's, Patriots. I'm sure when Mahomes finally, the Chiefs are going to be in these situations. So it's not easy to replace those guys. You have the first viable, they've had good players in there, but a guy that you pretty much know what you're getting, you can count on, and that has championship chops.
Yeah,
the guy can play. Like him or not, the guy can play, and I think he can still play. For what you need him to do, I kind of like it. It's a departure from what you think of when you think Pittsburgh.
Oh, certainly.
It's a huge, and I think that's what some of the fans and Terry Bradshaw have a hard time wrapping their head around. But on the football field, I think he's a good stopgap for the next year or so until you figure out what's next. And heck, maybe you catch fire with him.
Yeah.
Maybe you've got a team around him that you guys can make a run in a division that is not. There's no established leader.
It's two great teams. There's one great team in the Ravens, and then there's what we think could be great with the Cincinnati Bengals. And so if you're in the AFC with an Aaron Rodgers, you probably think to yourself, at least internally in the building, we've got as good of a chance as any of these guys. Now, TJ Watt wasn't at mandatory minicamp. I think he's still trying to get a new deal with Pittsburgh. But much with Shamar, much with Trey, I expect him to at least be in a Steelers uniform when Pittsburgh takes the field week 1 against the New York Jets, which is a pretty intriguing matchup from the standpoint as you have Justin Fields and Gangrene, Aaron Rodgers with Pittsburgh. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a great game, 13-10 might do you for a final score. I still think Pittsburgh early on is going to win a lot of games the same way they did last year, just by kicking good field goals. And that's the one thing Rodgers didn't have last year with the Jets. They didn't have a guy that could kick field goals. Chris Boswell's very capable for Pittsburgh. Again, I think he won them 6 games last year. They just won off of his foot. And that organization's as steady Eddie as it gets.
With a guy like Rodgers bringing him in, a big piece of it, and I think we'll know a lot in the first quarter of the season.
Yeah.
You'll be able to tell what is happening here. In him, you have a guy that can create belief that we can do something here. Now, that belief can go away if it's not happening early.
Yeah.
But if you have a team that, in the Steelers that wins a bunch of games early and they get believing, he can inject you'll have the confidence of your team. That's hard to come by with quarterbacks. It's one of the you can't fake it. All these other guys are highly paid professionals. They'll see right through it. It's hard for guys that are just coming into a system. You won't ever have it with a rookie. There's just some things you can't. Well, when Aaron Rodgers walks into the Steelers locker room, you'll have guys that are I know we can win with him. I know there's no reason we can't. There's not a question mark. And that's something that, Justin Fields, as good of a player is, that you can't inject that into the locker room in New York if you're him. There's only a handful of guys that have that, and you have to have proved it. He's proved it. He's a quirky guy. He's in the back end of his career. He knows that. But is there magic in there? I wouldn't be surprised. And he can, more than just his stats, having him at a place, and if he stays healthy, can inject confidence into a locker room that can probably equal more than the sum of its parts.
Here's the one question I do have, and I guess it's a what if here. What if Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson start going nuts and Aaron Rodgers can't go anymore? Do heads start rolling in Pittsburgh?
No. I don't think they'll ever fire Mike Tomlin.
I don't think heads don't tend to roll.
They don't ever roll there. Yeah, if it was another organization that was on kind of the receipt, it was part of this, where they had Justin Fields. Maybe if it was Cleveland, maybe if it was Cincinnati, maybe, but that Steelers organization's the one that feels like they can weather a lot more than anybody else. And that's why they've been, and I know Pittsburgh fans don't want to hear this because their standard is we haven't won a playoff game in 20 years. We're kind of sick of this bleep. But for everybody,
true?
From Steelers fans that I've heard from, and there was one guy last year in Pittsburgh that bought a billboard calling for Mike Tomlin to be fired because they were just tired of this, steady decade plus of 500 seasons. Which I understand. If your standard, it's like Ohio State. Try doing that at OSU. Try doing that in Columbus.
The last playoff win was 2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Pittsburgh, it's been a long time. So I do think,
as a Bengals fan, I have seen a playoff win since then.
As a Browns fan, I've seen one too. The Browns beat the Steelers. I think it was 2020. So
no, he is, I think, and he would know coming to the end. There's a certain grace period, as there would be in college with winning championships, and it's certainly the case in the NFL. You win a Super Bowl, you get a lot of rope. Like you get a lot of leeway to kind of figure things out in the coming years. How many did Tomlin win? Off
One.
the top of your, just one.
Just one.
Okay. So that was the Santonio MVP one? Yeah. And he's also in a storm where that's a historically loyal organization. So stick with him. But yeah, I don't think you'd be surprised. I guess I hadn't thought of it in heads will roll terms because that, like I said, that's not a place. They don't do it. There's been steady, but they would be justified, I would say. If this experiment doesn't work, any other organization, you'd be justified to shake some things up, get new leadership in there, get a new head coach. But they don't grow on trees, and I think by all accounts, Tomlin is well liked by players and
I would even
does a
say
good
it's
job.
not even necessarily Tomlin. Like, at that point, you got to go to the GM and go, "What are you guys doing with the quarterback?"
Which is a fair question. I mean, I think they have, they took Pickett, I think 21st overall. So they've certainly tried to make this work, but I mean, Tomlin has gone 18 seasons without, that's an NFL record. Most consecutive non-losing seasons to begin a coaching career. He's gone 500 a couple times, but they haven't had a losing season in Pittsburgh. But I do think the standard there, because of what was set with Bill Cowher and what was even said at the beginning of Tomlin's tenure, you have Ben Roethlisberger, obviously, makes it so that this is becoming unacceptable. Wild place to be.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anything to... Now, they obviously have a history, but let's go into like modern NFL where like the cap and the money has become more of a talking point than like the Terry Bradshaw era where it felt like love of the game. They are so loyal as an organization that perhaps that loyalty to the rest of their roster doesn't lend itself to show favoritism to the quarterback position that usually requires a lot of money love. They had it with Ben Roethlisberger, but they drafted the guy, kept him, and built around him. Because I'm just thinking, like, how can an organization like Pittsburgh not attract? They shouldn't be without quarterback.
No,
like, they should not be going into they of all teams should not have like we can't find a guy. You understand it in Cleveland, no offense. Indy has
all
this
of the
issue.
offense taken.
Yeah, like you understand it in some of these organizations, but Pittsburgh, you would think you'd be able to find your guy. Quarterback would not be the issue there. You know who the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers is, but right now we don't know. So that is a little weird, but maybe it's just a product of, I know a lot of guys that played there and loved to play there.
Mm-hmm.
And they played there and they loved it because the organization was loyal, paid them well.
Cam Hayward's played there forever.
He loves it.
Like,
Yeah. And I think maybe there's a piece that's like surrounding everybody else. Maybe it's the diva quarterbacks don't feel special enough in Pittsburgh.
They don't, yeah.
We're going to find out. This is a great experiment. You got the perfect guy to test this theory.
I think if anything, the AFC North is the most interesting division in all of professional football. We'll stick in Pittsburgh just real quick. Do you feel bad for Paul Skeens? That's next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on eggs. Right now, 18-count cartons of large grade A Kroger brand eggs are just $3.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
The next disaster is coming. Make a plan. Keep extra medication on hand. Make copies of important documents. Stay informed and be ready. Learn more at americares.org/send-us-in.
This summer, elevate your backyard barbecue game with Napoleon Grills from Billiards Plus in Dublin. Experience the power of Napoleon's infrared sizzle zone,
reaching up to 1,800 degrees in just 30 seconds for that perfect steakhouse sear.
Stay connected with the Napoleon Home app.
Monitor up to 3 temperature probes, all from your smartphone.
Built to last with premium steel, the grilling season never ends with Napoleon Grills from Billiards Plus. Visit Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin and transform your patio into a gourmet grilling paradise.
Learn the game, meet future stars, and have a blast
at the Browns Youth Football Camps.
In partnership with University Hospitals, the camps kick off Monday, June 16th.
Go to browns.com/youthfootballcamps25 to sign up today.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more.
Buckeye Lake Marina has it all.
Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
We've all got it, you know, that one crazy thing you've always wanted to do, that bucket list goal. Then a cancer diagnosis, and that one thing still goes according to plan. I would know. I'm getting my first tattoo right now, while my 3 beautiful daughters laugh hysterically at me. 58 years old, 4 years of cancer-free checkups at Ohio Health. Go ahead and get a picture, girls. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans.
Get blockbuster savings at Coughlin Ford. 5-time winner of the Ford President's Award. Get employee pricing on new F-150s, 10 grand off MSRP on new 25s, or 13 grand off new 24 models. Shop the fastest growing Ford dealership in Central Ohio. From America, for America. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
Based on YTD sales and ground stock. All factory rebates to dealer. All prior sales excluded. In-stock units only. Must finance through Ford Motor Credit. Not all will qualify. No security deposit required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. N7725.
Don't settle for ordinary this summer when adventure awaits. Make memories that will last forever only at your Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, Central Ohio's family destination for fun. Plan your perfect summer trip at columbuszoo.org.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Yes, you are. We're the home of the Reds. If you hadn't heard the news, Cincinnati's playing Detroit today at 1:10. Redlegs and the Motor City Kitties are going in game 2 of a 3-game set. We'll have coverage on the Fan at 12:40. So the Suits are kicking Dane and I off about a half hour earlier.
Suits.
To bring you Cincinnati baseball. A question that I've wondered for a couple of months now is, do I feel bad for Paul Skeens? He's a professional pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, if you weren't aware. He's a phenom. He's dating a millionaire supermodel. He's making millions of dollars playing a sport, but he's playing for a really awful team in the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Buccos improved to 29-42 on the season yesterday. They beat, it was the Cubs yesterday in extra innings. Paul Skeens started last night. He was denied the decision, though, when the bullpen blew a late 1-0 lead. So Skeens has recorded the fewest number of wins by a pitcher to begin the season with a sub 2.0 ERA. So he's got 4 wins through 15 starts. His ERA is just under 2, 1.78 actually, which is incredible. But Major League Baseball started recording those things in about 1947, which is a very, 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 very bad place for him to be in terms of the record book.
I think that you can feel bad for him. I'm not going to.
I do at times.
I think
reading that I do.
I think you can separate his personal life and you feel bad for baseball, Paul, because it's tough to have that talent, and you still want to. I mean, I'm sure he's still wired in a way that like he's not out there and like, wow, man, I have so much money and my girlfriend is hot, and here you got to pitch again.
That's the one
but man, life is good. Life is good. Man, I gotta get. This is awesome.
Yeah, go back
so
and
I
forth
think I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be. I don't want to. I pick my cynicism spots. This won't be one.
Yeah.
Well, I'll feel bad for Paul because he's on a bad team.
I do. I think that the idea that he is one of the generational talents in baseball, and he's being wasted on an organization that is reportedly just hoarding their money.
Is it Barry Sanders with the Lions? They were bad. He was great. Everyone felt bad for him.
Yeah, I would even say Calvin Johnson with the Lions, because those Lions teams with Sanders, didn't they make an AFC champion or an NFC championship game?
I mean, Calvin made a couple of playoff appearances.
He was in the playoffs for a hot cup of coffee. It's kind of the Mike Trout thing with the Angels. Although, no, it's not even that bad because the Angels actually tried to help Mike Trout with players around him like Pujols and Ohtani. This thing with Skeens in Pittsburgh, we could be entering unprecedented territory.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to go into how much money and personal life in the feel bad. I think that I feel bad for, not feel bad, but sports fans, you want to see a guy in that.
Mm-hmm. I want to see
with
greatness
that talent
succeed.
Yes. You want to see it like, where could this go? Like, where could Barry Sanders have gone with a better team? What does that look like? Everybody's watching, especially at that level, to see the highest peak of the sport, and you don't necessarily want to see somebody just toil away in a team that, they're the best player by far and are stuck there.
No, he won't be stuck.
Poor Paul.
But he'll be there for a couple of years. I think the ability for him to get out of his contract will be like 29. So 2030, he could be on a new team. I see him asking to be traded. I see that headline coming out probably in the next year or so. He hasn't made any scuttlebutt about it. This is all Pittsburgh and Major League Baseball.
Word on the streets, White Sox are going after him hard.
Oh, your White Sox.
Just word on the street.
Wouldn't that be something? So I thought it's in the blogs. Well,
it's on the Reddits.
I don't necessarily know if the White Sox need pitching help because they just picked up Aaron Savale from the Milwaukee Brewers on Friday. Did you see that news?
Of course,
big,
I saw
big
that.
news.
Milwaukee
was going to send him to the bullpen. Savale said, "I'm not coming out of the bullpen. I'm a starter." Said, "You can start in the South Side, then, buddy."
Ooh, what a good attitude. Love him.
Is the White Sox the only team you actually feel worse for him to be on?
Who, Skeens? If you move Skeens to the White Sox,
it's true. That didn't didn't solve poor Paul's problems if we. And may notice I say
it
we.
Would sure not. We, the White Sox.
If we bring him in.
Well, I'll tell you what. The White Sox are 23-47 on the season, so Pittsburgh's got to be careful. They keep, blowing leads like that. Now, again, they won in extra innings last night, but the Chicago White Sox are nipping at their heels. Now that they've got the Pope on board.
We'll see if that is helpful.
They better hope so. They're in a 3-game losing streak, your Chicago White Sox are. They play the Texas Rangers today at 4:05. So.
They've struggled, and I'm aware.
Yeah. What would I'm trying to think if Paul Skeens were to go anywhere. I don't want to go to the Dodgers, so I'm gonna think that maybe he goes to an American League team because let's just trade him. The Guardians aren't going to pay. Oh boy,
New York.
Yeah, put him. See, that's the thing, right? When he becomes a free agent or when he hits the market, it's going to be a king's ransom you will want back. So when I default as a baseball fan to be like, just put him in pinstripes.
It's either the Dodgers or the Yankees.
I was going to say, and I kind of want to see it. It
sucks.
Skeens in New York?
It'd be huge for baseball.
It'd be huge for baseball. Yeah, you kind of want to see it.
Do you? I don't.
I do.
Yeah. But everybody.
The celebrity girlfriend in New York.
Everybody crushes your White Sox, but as a Guardians fan.
When you have no chance, Eric, you just want to watch the world burn. So as long as it's just like...
And it does go back to our earlier conversation. I think we all appreciate greatness. And so we want to see greatness compete and perform on the biggest stage.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get much bigger. Damn it. I had asked you earlier in the program off the air, and I'll bring it on the air just real quick, about the national championship in golf, the U.S. Open, has been giving everyone fits going into Saturday's third round. And they have begun play in Oakmont, which is only 15 miles outside of Pittsburgh. Only 5 golfers are even or under par for the weekend. Defending champion Bryson DeChambeau didn't make the cut. The cut was +7. So him, Justin Thomas, I think were like +10, +12. Do you, as a casual golf fan, and I think I know my answer, do you like seeing a golf course just take the soul of golfers, professional golfers, like Oakmont's doing to these guys?
I don't get joy just off of them struggling, but it is more interesting to watch than watch them go out and light up a golf course.
I agree.
I'm a very casual golf fan. I don't follow it often. I'll try to watch the majors if I can, but if you told me what you just said, I'm more intrigued by, hey, this course is eating up these players. I'm more intrigued and likely to watch it than, hey, beautiful day out there and these guys are scoring all over the place. You kind of want to see what they can do on these courses.
Mm-hmm.
I suggested even like in the vein of F1, how they'll do street races. Maybe there's like one tournament a year that the guys just kind of play through a neighborhood.
Okay.
And you just play the ball as it lies. Like, let's really see who has skills with these sticks. Like, what can you play off of? Could you make a putt that's just down my driveway?
Now, in this example, which I think is tremendous.
Thank you.
Would the residents of the neighborhood be allowed out to like walk their dog or water their lawn or mow the lawn or walk the kid? Or would bicyclists be allowed?
You'd have to have some guardrails on it. You'd have to make them aware. I don't think you would want people just being jerks and mowing their lawn when he's putting down my driveway.
Sure.
So I think it could be a spectator event. You would have to shorten it. I don't think we can do drivers through the neighborhood because you're going to end up 3 neighborhoods away.
Yeah, like par 3, I think would be the longest hole.
Yeah, I think it's a par 3 thing, and it's going to be tough for CBS to film it because that's just there's challenges there. But I think if you did it right, you'd really see who were the skilled golfers, like the John Daly's of the world shine in this tournament. Yeah, I just want to see what they can do on not perfect conditions.
Well, I will say this, the advancement in drone technology makes it so if you just plugged a camera to a drone, you could fly them around. You wouldn't need like the carts with the gigantic arms anymore.
Who hasn't been out like chipping around in their backyard though and like, what if I just full swing this thing? Where's this going to go?
I think everybody
who's
that's
played golf,
yes.
who've ever picked up a club and chipped around, you've been in your neighborhood and you're like, what if I just full send this thing? Where's it going to go? Like how many houses down? What if that was just your line? You're looking, it's like, okay, Hideki, what you're looking at here is, see the red roof there? The green's right in their backyard. If you fly it too far, you're in the pond.
Over.
Okay, so we're like, I think we're 200 yards to the peak of that roof, probably playing 210. And he just pulls out the iron and just blind green into the backyard.
This is the new off the roof, nothing but net.
I think you've saved golf with that idea. And to your point about filming it, is you can get a drone to like have the ball tracker with the camera as it goes over the roof, because you're not hitting like high velocity shots. You're trying to hit shots at right angles with curvature that can go over a roof.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, maybe you end up on the wrong side of the house.
Well,
now you're trying to flop shot over the house. Who hasn't thought about doing that? You want to see if these guys can do it.
You are not going to see a lot of drones at Ohio Stadium this season, because to do a drone show requires the lights for the drones to work, and all of Ohio State's kicks outside of one are going to be at noon. There's some stadium stuff that Ross Bjork brought up that we're going to bring to you next at Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
It's your lucky day, because at Speedway, there's a $5,000 winner every single day. All you do is shop with Speedy Rewards. Then play the in-app game for a chance to win $5,000 in cash. So you could win $5K today, or the next day, or the next day, or the next... Okay, you get it. New daily cash winners only at Speedway. Are you next? No purchase necessary. Ends 1/6/26 USDC 16 plus. For official rules and free gameplay, go to 5k-a-day.com/rules.
Hey, it's Anthony for Orthopedic One. I'm not invincible anymore. I never was, but I refuse to punt on things I still love to do. That's why over the past several years, when I've had things creep up, like back pain, shoulder issue, elbow problem, I've had it all, I've always chosen Orthopedic One. That's because Orthopedic One is Ohio's largest physician-owned orthopedic practice with 60 physicians in every specialty. Find a physician or location near you at orthopedic1.com. Orthopedic One. This is where you go to get better.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
The Bobcat National Sales Event is happening now at Bobcat Enterprises. Get up to $10,000 in rebates or choose financing as low as 0% for 60 months on the industry's most comfortable compact loaders. See Bobcat Enterprises in Hilliard, Reynoldsburg, or Zanesville today for incredible savings during the National Sales Event, and find the current specials and full line of products at bobcatent.com.
Some restrictions apply. Length of contract and rate may vary. Offer ends June 30th, 2025.
Bobcat Enterprises, celebrating 50 years of serving you.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
What? All the budget has to be used now? And we can use all the media buy?
Javier's marketing firm just got its dream funding.
Okay, ideas. Bobbleheads. No. T-shirt cannon. I seriously need some help here.
He needs to find marketing managers who are worth every dollar.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Sponsoring a job on Indeed gives it a visibility boost so you can hire faster. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Nate Pruderball. Last night it was Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City returned the favor on the Indiana Pacers, rallying in the fourth quarter to win 111-104, tying the series at 2 apiece. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the way for the Thunder with 35 points. Game 5 comes your way Monday night. The Cincinnati Reds fell to the Detroit Tigers last night, 11-5. Game 2 comes your way today. First pitch at 1:10. Catch the action right here on The Fan. In Seattle, the Guardians fell to the Mariners 7-2 on the back of a 4-run 7th inning by the Mariners. Game 2 of the series comes your way tonight at 9:40. And in the U.S. Open, Sam Burns takes a one-stroke lead into the weekend at Oakmont, sitting at 3 under par. J.J. Spaun and Victor Hovland, the only other golfers under par heading into round 3. Bringing sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Yeah, I realized as Dane Sanzenbacher was saving golf, we didn't really tell you what was going on at Oakmont other than people were struggling. So good job out of Nate to actually give you the quasi-leaderboard of Sam Burns, J.J. Spaun, and Victor Hovland, the 3 golfers that are under par. Through 2 rounds, you got Burns and Spaun going to go at 335. Victor Hovland, he's with Adam Scott. They're going to go at 324. And you have Ben Griffin and Victor Perez at 313. So the guys in contention, at least right now, will be going in the 3 o'clock hour. You've still got Scheffler, who's at +4. He'll go at 1 o'clock today. Jason Day, Brooks Koepka, +3, +2 for Koepka. You're within striking distance before you begin your second round, but the conditions in Oakmont are similar to the conditions here, so I do expect this to be taking more golfers' souls as you go throughout the afternoon, but Sunday could provide a lot of entertainment from a who's this guy and why is he winning my national championship perspective.
We were in a similar spot when we did our show at the Memorial, though.
Yep.
And we were there was a handful of people who you hadn't maybe heard of. It ended in familiar fashion. But yeah, a lot of that. When we were there, you were not walking around that day, but you said you were going to come back. Did you end up coming back on Sunday?
I did not. No.
So no special stories from you.
I got nothing.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I
have no doubt.
We brought up Hovland. My brother and I went, and we followed him around for a little bit. We take for granted how fun that is to have that level of professionals. Yeah. We followed Tommy Fleetwood for a while. It was the first time I had been to the event and actually followed a group. You know, you have to kind of make a decision when you're at these events, whether am I going to be a whole sit guy or am I going to follow a group or am I just like at one of the backyard parties? I've always been one of the, I'd either sat at a hole or been doing something completely non-golf. It was actually really fun to pick guys and watch them play the course.
And that's, I think, a big difference between Muirfield and Oakmont, whereas Oakmont, I don't know how much of it you have seen, but they've cleared so much of the forestry that you could stand in one spot and really see like 3 or 4 different holes. Either it's a fairway or a green or a tee, a green, a fairway. At Muirfield, you kind of have to do one or the other, where it's I can sit and watch this hole in particular, or I can follow a group, or I can stand in the backyard. But again, if you have, say, your house is on 12, that's the kind of all you get.
Yeah, I think so. Saturday we were following Max Homa and whoever he was paired with. Okay. I can't remember. I think they were right behind Victor Hovland's group. Another fun part of it was these guys still score okay, but not every shot they hit was immaculate. Like Homa chunked a chip that probably didn't make the broadcast because you would never take it, but if you were there, you saw it. And it was like a collective. You couldn't hear it, but you knew that like it was the 100 or so people that were around it. Every one of them were like, I could do that. Like it was one of those like humanizing.
It's like missing a field goal. Like, I could have made that.
Yeah. Like it was not, it was bad. We were like 50 yards. He was like 50 yards out and didn't make it to the green. And everything in between his shots, he's practicing. You're like, wow, this guy's in a bad headspace. But quietly, a really fun part, but one I didn't realize. But no, you just reminded me when you brought him up to seeing those guys actually at work. I know what I'd love to see it. The street ball series when they're going through the neighborhood.
The streets of Dublin,
to see it.
Streets of Westerville.
Yeah, just adjacent to Muirfield. Yeah. That's just like through the front yards.
What the heck is this?
Look at this guy.
You talk about watching guys just chunk shots. Rory had an approach yesterday where he chunked it into the rough and then he just tomahawked his club. McIlroy +1 on the day through 6. He's 7 over for the tournament. So a large hill to climb. But if you look at those guys who are +4, +5, +6, McIlroy +7, If Sam Burns and J.J. Spawn have a really bad day and come back down to earth where kind of everybody else is living in the several strokes over par, that can make for, if those names are involved Sunday, we're like, well, Rory's 5 shots off the lead. Who's to say he couldn't make a charge or there couldn't be a greater collapse from the Burns or Spawn or Hovland? I think make for an exciting finish to our nation's championship tournament.
I'd agree. This might just be the world we're living in post-live. Because where you used to have half of those guys that were eating up the rest of the leaderboard, I feel like it may become more of a routine of these big tournaments, at least the ones that you're not seeing. Well, DeChambeau's in this. This has live
Bryson
guys.
Didn't make the cut. Yeah, the live guys got exceptions into it. A lot of them,
terrible take.
A lot of them did not make it into the weekend. I think Brooks Koepka, I just mentioned, he is 2 back. He'll go at around 250 this afternoon. So you get a lot of those guys, but I do get your overall point of not having them week to week. You kind of forget. And you guys, oh yeah, Brooks. Oh yeah, Bryson. Like a year ago, I said Bryson DeChambeau had a punchable face. And now I've done a complete 180 on it, where I love seeing his stuff on, like, I'm, again, casual golf fan. I love seeing his content on YouTube, how scientific he gets to everything from his 3D printed irons to every little tweak he does to his body to try to, be the optimal golfer, to talking about how he's going to stay. He had a comment this week that his LIV contract is up at the end of the year, but he wants to stay with LIV because they're going to offer him chunks of money. But that the LIV Tour is EBITDA positive. Like an EBITDA is an acronym for like earnings before tax. It's a very accounting-y term. And I'm like, that golf robot would use a term like that where you go, what's EBITDA? But that's endeared him a little bit to me because he's a weirdo and I gravitate towards weirdos, as I'm sure.
He's leaned in, and I think any weirdo in the public eye learns eventually that you just need to lean into it. Yeah. If you're a weirdo, you got to be the weirdo, and then we'll accept you. He's done an outstanding job of going from villain to somebody like people are like, I kind of like Bryson. Nice. He's fine. Now we get the full picture. Oh, he's just weird. We didn't know he was weird before.
Someone that's been universally loved only since I can remember is Lee Corso. And he will be doing his final headgear pick on August 30th. He will be retiring after that college game day. Now, fittingly, it'll be in Columbus for Ohio State and Texas. And I know I had heard some things about, because Corso coached at Florida State, he'd go back to Tallahassee. The Seminoles play Alabama week 1. But that game has 0 consequence. So I figured that the final college game day for Lee Corso would be a game of consequence. Well, turns out Ohio State and Texas could be the most consequential game you get in an August or September. Probably the most consequential game you get this college football season before the month of November. And it also works out that the first head he put on back in 1996 was Brutus. The final one could be Brutus.
And an 8 p.m. kickoff does not work for bedtime.
I see what you did there. Probably not. No, I remember.
If people want another reason, this was probably at noon.
Infamously, where Ryan Day asked, I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
Dead asleep.
Lou Holtz is in bed.
Good question, but he's asleep. He'll catch the second half of the morning.
The big noon kick does work out for Coach Corso, who can be alert and ready to go bright and early. And it's going to be very hot, August 30th. And I know that scuttlebutt's still there about what happened, where you could get this thing moved, the kick time, where Ohio State, damn it, we should be able to do this. Fortunately, the contract that you sign now, I remember when this came out, the 2022, the Big Ten has signed a 7-year media rights agreement with Fox, CBS, and NBC that's set to bring in more than $7 billion. You sign that contract. Those 3 networks, I don't know if you could ever own Ohio State athletics, but that's as close as you get, or at least Ohio State football.
You get a lot of decision-making power there. But it's funny to see, or I guess it's good to see, that Ohio State was the choice, and I'm sure it was a choice on some level, to be his last show. I never knew if it was like we were biased by the headgear picks by Lee Corso, but it always felt like a very Ohio State thing. I don't know if it's because the Brutus head is so recognizable, or that maybe it's just all we were exposed to in Columbus that like, oh, this is our thing. This feels like our thing. It's just kind of I didn't know that he had been at Ohio, he'd been at Ohio State more than any other game. Any other game.
45 times he's put on that Brutus head.
That's ridiculous.
Alabama's second with 38.
Wow.
If you think about it, since 1995, who have been the paramount programs in the sport, it's that. And for my money, Dane, College Game Day is the best sports program ever.
Inside the NBA with Charles Barkley and Shaq.
I was going to go with it.
Okay.
NBA.
Like, dude, that's
sure.
As of the past couple of years, I've watched that thing. I was like, this is the best sports show on TV.
It's certainly up there.
Game Day's up there.
But I remember
but for pure entertainment, I'm like, these guys are just a really fun hang.
Yeah, I think ESPN's going to let them do their thing because it is going to the worldwide leader when the new NBA rights deal comes in October. I hope that that's the case. I know they haven't really tried to mess with McAfee, and so they've kept that show as, that kept that show the original intent. And I think similarly with Ernie and the crew, they do the same thing. But yeah, if you're talking about entertaining sports show, and I throw you College Game Day, and you throw Inside the NBA, it's a good spot. It's a good spot to be.
And that's a good. They're not even on each other's toes. If you gave a game, like if I'm waking up in the morning to Game Day, feels very morning.
Yes.
And Inside the NBA, that's very like evening wind down. It's a little bit more. I mean, obviously Game Day is getting more and more loose as it goes, but those are 1A and 1B.
Just how long do we think the Buckeyes are going to have to carry Big Noon Kick? We'll discuss next at Sports Saturday on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here, and so are the summer savings at RCD RV. Don't miss RCD RV's summer kickoff sale running June 7th through the 21st. New RVs starting as low as $12,995. Now's the time to make a splash this summer. Hurry in. Those deals will not last long. Find unbeatable savings, unforgettable fun, and everything you need to hit the road at RCDRV.com. Visit our locations, Delaware, Heath, and Pataskala, or shop online anytime at RCDRV.com.
Going up. Prices keep going up these days. It feels like being on an elevator that only goes up. Going up. But not at Metro. We're pushing the down button. Going down. We've lowered prices. Get one line of 5G data for $40. Period. That's 20% lower. And you get a free Samsung 5G phone when you bring your number. Only at Metro.
5-year guarantee on eligible plans. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Not available at Metro with T-Mobile in the past 6 months. Tax applies.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
Bets are us when dreams sunk in. Bets are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bets are us when dreams sunk in. Bets are us.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, pork back ribs or Tyson boneless chicken breasts are on sale for $2.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
We at The Fan have created a show where you can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. Sundays at 11, it's The Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. You're welcome.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Did you want information on the Ohio Lottery's Easy Play games? Okay. Easy Play games have everything needed to play printed on the ticket, so you never wait for a drawing. And with Easy Play Progressive games, they can instantly win the game's jackpot, which oftentimes grow and grow to over $1 million. All lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly. Want another commercial? Okay.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring into savings at Ohio Mulch. Get your mulch as easy as ever. Save $50 on home delivery now through Sunday. All you got to do is visit ohiomulch.com today.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply.
Don't miss the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale. Save up to 80% on truckloads of floors and more, including tile starting at 19 cents a square foot and a massive selection of laminate, luxury vinyl, and carpet, all drastically reduced. Cabinets and lighting fixtures, too. Save up to 80% during the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale on Pop Road in Whitehall. 24-month financing is available with approved credit. Hurry, the Outlet Super Sale ends June 22nd. Dealers welcome.
Right here, right now.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here for the weekend. High temperatures into the upper 70s here for today with a few scattered showers and storms, especially here for the afternoon. We'll see that chance continue here into your Sunday with highs into the lower 80s. A better chance of showers and storms in the forecast here as we head into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. But overall, warm and humid conditions are expected here for next week with highs into the 80s. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
We've test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
So back in the day when you had old-timey radio stations, I don't know, old-timey is probably not the right word, but stations that would do like call-ins for giveaways, you'd have to go the phrase that pays.
Yep.
And I think around here, the phrase that pays, or at least that pays Ohio State's big noon. Big noon kick. Unfortunately for Ohio State fans, the contract with Fox runs through the 2030 academic year. So in 2030, you'll be able to get out from under this, hypothetically.
Can I pause on how funny that this contract is working on an academic year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, how much is the contract?
Irony's not
worth?
lost on me.
How much did you say it was?
Expected to bring in more than $7 billion.
$7 billion contract?
I'll go north.
Good. Works on the academic year.
Do that on the academic year.
Just think about it,
It's
folks.
important for
This
the
is
student
very
athlete
strange.
experience. Again, very hard to not be cynical in all of this. But I understand the consternation from a fan base who last year had 6 straight noon kicks, who this year has the marquee matchup of the season set for noon. Especially when the leader of the program, Ross Bjork, and Fox themselves tried to get it to move, but Texas said, we're not doing you any favors. This game stays where it was scheduled. Now, for Ohio State, you're playing Michigan at noon, and then you got a game against Penn State when they come from Happy Valley. That game will likely be at noon as well, because it was reported a couple weeks ago, Fox has the first 3 picks. They look at the season schedule, and they say, we want these 3 games. And because no other team in the Big Ten's really been able to hold up their end of the bargain since that deal was signed in 2022, Ohio State's got to carry this. So Fox wants to make Big Noon their thing. They're going to use the marquee program in the conference because they don't have access to SEC teams Big 12 teams, you can't really do noon. I think they might have tried with the Colorado kick at noon. That turns out to be an 11 o'clock kick from Folsom. And the rest of the Big 12 is not interesting to anybody else in a national standpoint. So, sorry, Buckeyes.
I just have no issue with this. I don't know. I get wanting to have more, but and we've talked about it before, but it's the same. It's all part of the same changing dynamic of what you thought college football used to be, and it was later means better games. Like this should be a night game. Prime time is the night game. It's just not where we're at. I mean, I think they should lean into it. Like make it. All the best draws, like in the old westerns, you meet them at high noon. I think it's just go full cowboy theme. Have tumbleweed going through the field for the pregame.
It'd be so good if Texas did that next year, but they're going to have theirs at a primetime kick. Like when Ohio State plays Texas in 2026, that game's at 7:30 in Austin.
Noon's primetime, Eric.
Well, that's what Fox wants you to believe.
Noon is the new primetime.
Fox wants you to say, when you think of college football, you think big noon kick. You think the boot hits the ball at high noon, and that's when everything else stops in the nation. And for all of our lives, it really has been the case. And it will continue to be the case until 2030. Now, I think what Ross Bjork and Ohio State Athletics can do is go to Fox, go to CBS, go to NBC and say, look, we're in this contract now, but allow us some wiggle room in future years, or we're really going to have to think about our relationship in 2030. Because the SEC is in bed with ESPN. They'll be in bed forever. But what if the Big Ten went to Fox and said, we might not like doing this with you anymore. So once this contract is up, we might go over to Mickey Mouse.
Why would they care, though?
Who?
The Big Ten.
Well, I think they'd care because Ohio State cares.
Does Ohio State care?
Enough to go to Fox and say, we got to get this time moved.
Yeah, I guess I don't see the incentive for Ohio State to do that. To want, like, what would be the problem with noon? It's like $7 billion. I don't know. Play it at 2 a.m. for all I care.
That's, from a personal standpoint, yeah. And I think for even the coaches, probably like noon kicks better.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they did try to entertain it, but like...
Oh, no.
For like I guess the fans that don't want a noon kickoff?
There's a lot of them. And so this is Ross Bjork talking about getting Ohio State and Texas moved off that big nooner on August 30th.
I think our program, our fans deserve some marquee night games. So we started having that conversation. Texas, in the contract, it goes both ways. They have the ability to approve or not if the game moves off of a Saturday. We asked them. I don't blame them. But those conversations started. We worked with Fox. They were understanding. But really, at the end of the day, there's no flexibility in the contracts. Fox bought the noon window. CBS bought the afternoon window. And NBC has the night window.
Now, maybe this would be made easier if there hadn't been 6 noon kicks straight last season, if you hadn't had that kind of a fatigue to it. Now, here's Ohio State's athletic director talking. Now, he spoke on Thursday for about 75 minutes. It's very wide-ranging, and I would encourage anybody who has that kind of time to kill just to see it, because it does give the Ohio State fan a transparent look in what the athletic department's going to be doing over the next couple of months, if that's something you're interested in. All you want is the boot to meet the ball, and you want the marquee matchups, the marquee times. You might have to wait a little bit on that.
So what we need more flexibility. Can that happen anytime soon? I don't know. But I think every program should deserve the right to have way more flexibility. We have carried the day for Big Noon. There's no question about it. If you look at the viewership, so we understand why Fox went with Big Noon. We understand why we're picked all the time, but we're hoping just more flexibility. That's what we're looking for. And so, I think Commissioner Petiti is going to work with our TV partners. We're going to continue to have those conversations, but can anything change anytime soon? Probably not.
$7 billion butt.
I mean, it would be, again, we get into the sausage side of this. It's you can only get so into the weeds until you're like, would the Ravens be complaining or trying to negotiate for a different time slot? No, there's the leagues, you're probably never going to get more flexibility, because how the NCAA has functioned is individuals rowing their own ship for their own interests. That will work absolutely counter to where college football is going. You actually, to where it's heading, is you want less flexibility. You want a certain amount of teams, the contracts negotiated with everybody in mind in a rotating primetime slot. You just can't have it all. I just don't see a world where maybe they'll try to thread this needle, but as soon as like Ohio State's working for their interest, but CBS is working for a different interest, and then Michigan has their interests, nobody's rowing in the same direction. I think, at the end of the day, you said it at the lead, you're going to be whatever the contract is signed for the most amount of money, and you're in that slot. I don't think like having flexibility in schedule, maybe they can pull it off. You see it in not very many other leagues.
No.
That they're going to shift it around based on what the primetime slot is.
The $7 billion butt. You'd like to have all of these things, but you sign the contract, but you're cashing our checks.
Which I think in the grand, that is just how it is. It's just how it is. You hate to like everything that's new in college football just land in the, it's just the way it is. But even at the highest level, and you can kind of hear it in some of these interviews.
Ross does not sound thrilled.
No, I'm sure he doesn't like it. No, he's like, that's just how it is.
So I'm saying for what can be done when you go, all right, Eric, they're stuck with this, the $7 billion butt until 2030. I think you can start to maybe push some flexibility. I guess you start to be a proponent for flexibility by not threatening, but saying maybe in 2030 we don't invite you to our discussions. And I think Ohio State can command that because Ohio State's the crown jewel of the conference. And I do think that Ross and Tony would be able to wrangle enough Big Ten athletic directors to say, all right, if we can get more money, why not we go to ESPN, or why not we do something else?
They will. Actually, that is likely and probably counter to what I just said before, but you're so convincing, Eric. That's the thing is, and I hold my opinion so loosely that I will easily be swayed. In a situation where, Ohio State does carry a lot of that weight, if this becomes a continual talking point for the next few years, they're absolutely going to say like, well, if you're Illinois, Wisconsin, maybe you don't have the weight to push this decision, but if Ohio State's like, hey, if you want us to sign, we're gonna call the shots on our time window and let the rest adjust. Could happen.
Dane, would you like to play a game?
Yeah.
We'll do Who Is This Person in 2 minutes. It's Sports Saturday on The Fan.
When an orthopedic injury or condition gets in the way of life, there is nothing more important than finding a physician you can trust. At Orthopedic One, you'll find Central Ohio's most trusted team of orthopedic experts, ready to listen to your concerns and work with you toward the best possible outcome. In fact, more people trust Orthopedic One than any other practice in Central Ohio. Start with the specialists. Start with orthopedic1.com.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get Eco to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying Eco to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Get Eco.com.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen. That's just you drinking a big gulp from Speedway. And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a hit. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No? The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
All right, so if you're not aware out there, the Big Ten has 18 teams. Make that make sense? I won't. What Sports Illustrated did earlier this week, I thought was a fun exercise because one of their college football writers ranked all 18 Big Ten quarterbacks, or at least who they think is going to be the potential starter for the team, and then ranked them 1 to 18.
I'm going to be really bad at this game. Well, so I don't know the game we're playing, but I can already tell.
What this is going to be is, I think, a microcosm of college football, because pick your conference, the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12, Group of 5, they're all dealing with the transfer portal and your portal backing every single year almost. Look at Ohio State last year. They got Will Howard out of the portal. It was that one-year college football run. Michigan's doing something similar. I forget the guy's name, and I should have done a better job of looking at the break, but he's been to 4 schools already, and now 24/7 Sports is crystal balling him to Michigan. The Wolverines, the same program that offered Bryce Underwood, a quarterback from Michigan, about $10.5 million in name, image, and likeness deals to come to the university. And he's the kind of guy where if it doesn't work out, he'll probably just hit the portal and go somewhere else. So what I'll do is, since they ranked the quarterbacks, I'll just say at number 1, they ranked Drew Aller from Penn State. He feels like, of all of the teams in the Big Ten, the only known commodity at QB.
Well, he's been there for the past 20 years?
Feels like it.
It's all either been Drew Aller or somebody who looks exactly like Drew Aller.
They do have a type.
I'm convinced that's why they don't put the names on the back of the jersey, so they're just telling you that's actually Trace McSorley. He changed his name after he changed his name the last time to Sean Clifford.
Yes.
And then he changed it to Drew Aller, and you didn't notice because there's no names on the back of the jersey.
You're not really paying attention. No.
And I would challenge you guys to Google those images, because I did already, and my goodness, you cannot tell. They're very similar.
You're all playing solitaire during the game.
Yeah.
All right. At number 2, Oregon's quarterback.
That's bad. I do not know if that's what you're asking.
Dante Moore
is number 2 in the Big Ten.
Yes.
Okay.
Per Sports Illustrated.
Okay. I know number 1.
He played where before Oregon? Because this is his second year in Oregon, but this is his third year in college football. He played his freshman year at UCLA.
Oh, did you just give me the answer?
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to roll through these because we got to.
All right, I'll give you
make way for the Cincinnati. Make way for the Cincinnati Reds at number 3. Illinois quarterback.
Hattenberg.
Luke Altmaier.
I knew it.
At number 4, Nebraska's quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes.
Dylan Raiola. Okay. At number 5, Ohio State's quarterback.
Julian Sayin. I don't know. They're projecting that.
Yes.
Okay.
At number 6, Indiana's quarterback.
Oh, don't know.
Fernando Mendoza.
Oh, the kid from UCLA. I did know that one.
Yes. Well,
wasn't he from UCLA?
I'll have to
transferred.
I'll have to look. Well,
or somewhere out there.
At number 7 is UCLA's quarterback.
Oh, Iamaleava.
Well, UCLA has 2 Iamaleavas, but Nico Iamaleava is 7th on this list. So when I say that, the commodities just aren't there in the Big Ten, the idea that they've got Nico Iamaleava, who took an SEC team to the college football playoff last year behind guys like Fernando Mendoza, Dylan Raiola, Luke Altmaier, and Dante Moore, does feel a little bananas to me. Because, again, this was an SEC caliber quarterback.
Oh, California. The Indiana quarterback came from Cal, not from UCLA.
Fernando Mendoza came from California. Yep. Nico Iamaleava went from Tennessee to UCLA. So he's 7th on this list. At 8, Bryce Underwood.
Michigan.
Yes. And so he's the freshman, which, again, wild. At 9 is Iowa's quarterback.
Oh, yeah, him?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Ricky Stanzi.
Mark Gronkowski.
Oh.
At 10, USC's quarterback.
That has got to be
UNLV transfer quarterback Jaden Maiava.
Okay. Jaden Maiava.
At 11, Michigan State's quarterback.
Oh, Childers, the young kid, right?
Hey,
that's
Childs.
Not Childs.
Yeah.
Is he Childs? And I call him Children?
Childs.
Oh, Childs.
And not Chili.
I said Childers. I knew it was some kind of child or children.
So Childs does come from Oregon State, and he followed his coach. So Jonathan Smith comes from Corvallis to East Lansing. He took his quarterback with him, which that seems like a safe bet.
Yeah, okay.
At 12, Washington's quarterback.
Oh. Give it to me. I don't know.
Demon Williams Jr.
Demon, as in scary?
Well, it's, yeah.
Or is that a typo?
It's Demond, or maybe Damon Williams Jr.
Damon. Okay.
At 13, Wisconsin's quarterback.
We still have Big Ten. We're at 13. Wisconsin quarterback is probably...
Maryland transfer Billy Edwards Jr.
Okay. We're reaching a point where I have no chance, right?
No.
So, all right, I will stop even thinking.
All right, at 14, Northwestern's quarterback, SMU transfer Preston Stone.
Okay. Preston Stone?
No, it's Preston Stone, not Preston
But you
Stone.
can
Come
press
on.
things in stone.
Well, yeah, I guess. We're
pressed
back in the medieval
stone?
age. At 15, Rutgers quarterback and former Minnesota transfer, Ethan Kaliakmanis.
Okay.
At 16, Maryland, Malik Washington. I think he transferred from Washington, but he's playing at Maryland. At 17, Minnesota quarterback Drake Lindsay.
Okay.
And then at 18, Purdue's quarterback Ryan Brown.
Wow.
I'm hoping you out there said, who is this person? Because that was the idea of the game.
This is Big Ten. You can't even name.
I think this is college football,
This is college.
though, Dane.
You don't.
Who is my guy?
It's pretty telling when Drew Aller is your number one quarterback.
And a clear number one.
Almost clear number one. Like him and Nico.
You lost me at number 2, dude. I did know Nico when you got down there, but wow.
It's wild. And if you look at many different outlets with their way too early top 25, you could probably go through 17 or 18 of those schools and say, brand new quarterback. Probably more than likely the top 10, the new quarterback's a portal person, because that's what Ohio State's going to be doing. And if the early return for Ohio State in the portal back, pretty successful.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I understand why people are doing it. It's a very important position. We could go with the adage of this whole show, at least for the college football portion, could be, that's just how it is.
Uh-huh. Did you see Ohio State's new basketball court?
No.
The gray wood.
No, but I heard about it.
Trim.
I have not seen it.
All right, I'll have to show you a picture.
Interchangeable?
Yes, interchangeable center court. So you have the block O, and sometimes you can have script Buckeyes.
Ah.
It's pretty cool. I think it's a
the
unique
script
thing.
Buckeyes one is dope.
Yeah, that's the one that they've had.
Not easily, but interchangeable.
It feels like basketball courts these days and age are pretty easily interchanged. But yeah. I kept hearing from people that it's like, well, if they put a good product on the court, it doesn't matter what they play on. I'm like, no, you do need to have some flashy things in this day and age. Like, you got to do something. And again, you can't do anything with Schottenstein Center, so the court maybe jazz that up a little bit.
It's true. You could jazz it up over to St. John Arena.
You probably could. What we've got to do is jazz off because the Cincinnati Reds are about to come onto your radio. Dane, this was fun. We'll do it again sometime later in the summer on The Fan.